Okay, you guys, so here is part of my garden space here. This is just two of the beds. Doesn't look like much now. Obviously, it's cold. Things have died back. But in this first bed here, I have some oregano. This was store-bought oregano from last year. I overwintered them, or they're perennial, so they come back every year. I don't know how many years that they last, but they're still here. They're still thriving. I planted some garlic. I want to say I did this in October time frame, so those have come up. There looks like there's about 2 here and maybe 3 in this one here. These are all empty. I planted some onions. I don't remember if these were bulbing onions or if I did bunching onions, but I have onions here. And then I have a few that are sprouting up in here. I did these as well around the same time I did the garlic, so back in October-ish time frame. And then these, I believe, are Lazy Susans. Or sorry, that's not what that is. These are black-eyed Susans or something, whatever that's called. But I believe that's these. I thought these had died, which some of them might have. With the snow that we got in North Carolina, but they kind of look like they might come back. I think these might be perennials as well. And then I have a slightly larger amount over here, so I don't know if these are going to make it. I think black-eyed Susans are perennials, so they might come back. Some more garlic here. Looks like 3 in this one. This was some chervil. I think I picked back a while back and just kind of left it in here. This Brussels sprout is going to come out. This did not survive the frost that we got in North Carolina. Some more chervil here. This is the plant that I mentioned that is supposedly similar to parsley, but it does not taste like parsley. But this seems to have somewhat died off because of the frost, but it's still surviving. So we'll see if this will be an empty space. Empty spaces here. This might be some chervil that got left behind when I moved it, because it was originally in a different spot. I think I had it here, which explains why it might be growing in this area. But I think I had it in this area and then I moved it over here. And then I have thyme here. This is also from the store from last year. I had the thyme, the oregano, and there's another oregano in the other bed. I had all of those in that one bed, and I just kind of moved everything around. That's kind of why some of these cells have less soil. But that's these 2 beds here. So I have a lot of empty spaces that I'm going to utilize with the seeds that I'm going to start today. I do have this grow bag. This had some sunflowers, or no, this had zinnias in it last year. So these have just died back. So that's a grow bag that I'll be using. 1 pot, and then 2 more grow bags. This grow bag has more garlic in it. Looks like about 5 of those. This has carrots. So I think I'm actually gonna I think they're really small. Honestly, I don't know if they made it or if they're gonna survive or come back after the snow, because these did not get covered, so I think that's why they're so damaged. And then looks like there's some cilantro in here, which is doing fine. And I think there was some dill that I accidentally picked up, even though it was dying anyway. So there might be some dill kind of scattered in here. So I'm gonna harvest, I think, the carrots. See, this will be my first time ever growing carrots. They're really small, I'm sure, because I kind of tried to, I don't know if you guys can tell, I tried to like dig down in here a little bit to see, if there's anything going on, which is a little bit of something there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm gonna harvest these, see what I got, and then see what I'm gonna leave in here. Like I said, there might be some dill amongst here. Like this looks like it could be some dill, but it could just be carrots. And then in this bed, these were petunias. I don't think those come back. So those are going to be goners. I had some lettuce in here, so that's what all this dead foliage is. Here's my 3rd oregano plant. I also have some more garlic in here, so that looks like about 3 more garlics. And then if I step on this side, more dead lettuce, and then I have some kale. I have this being blocked off by this basket. I got this from Dollar Tree, just to kind of keep it safe from any cabbage worms or anything like that that might try to get to it. I did have that on the Brussels sprouts. I had 2 Brussels sprouts over here, and I think that the basket came off at one point, and I looked under the leaves and there were some little specks of things, so I tossed it. This one was still covered, but then I think the basket came off eventually, like these little specks. I don't know if you guys can see that. So this is going away. I don't want whatever that is to hatch and take over my garden. Plus this is dying anyway. The basket and these covers got removed. I don't think this is really sufficient for keeping off like frost and all of that, but most of the stuff survived. So but this last amount of snow, I think these blew off with the wind as well, and then everything actually got hit by frost, like touched by frost, versus just the temperature. So let's go ahead and harvest some carrots. You guys, so today we are starting seeds. I already have things kind of prepped. What I did differently this time as far as my soil, not using seed starting mix, I decided to get some regular potting soil mix for outdoors, and then I just sifted it out with what I had. I have a sifter, but I think I left it, like I mentioned, I'm in North Carolina. I think I left my sifter in Maryland. I thought I grabbed it, but I must not have. So what I used was a basket. I don't know if you guys have seen those dollar store baskets that people have been getting for gardening, for covering. And I showed it in my bed, in one of the beds that I had covered in my kale. So I used 2 of those baskets, poured the potting soil in there, and then kind of sifted it into this bucket here. So I have the sifted soil in here. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then I just added some vermiculite to it, and just kind of use that. There are some chunks kind of still in here that got through, but I think it should be fine. So we're gonna do that today. So first, let me show you guys my rosemary. That's the update. And then these are the new labels I've gotten. They're a little bit bigger, so I was able to put a little bit more information on them on there. So rosemary, these were on 111. They take 15 days to emerge and 68 to 72 days for maturity. And then my parsley here. So parsley, same date, 111, emerge 14 to 30 days and mature 75 days. And then my newer sown onions. So I have those on here, both of the varieties. So they were both sown on 126. The yellow onions are 10 to 15 days to emerge and 115 days to maturity. And the red onions are 7 to 15 days to emerge and as well 115 days to maturity as well. So I have those new labels in there. I have my trays set up, and then I also have this blueberry tray that I'm reusing. And I'll explain more about that one a little later once we get to those seeds. But again, these are my 8-week seeds for sowing from February 6th to the 10th. So we are starting that today. So we're gonna skip that one for now. Skip these for now. So let's start with bunching onions. We're gonna get those started. This one is 1/4 inch deep. These are 65 to 70 days to emerge. I think I'm gonna do a whole tray of bunching onions. So I'm doing bunching onions. I'm doing basil. I have an old pack and a new pack. I think I'm gonna sow one side. So one cell, I'm gonna do, I think, half of the old pack and then half of the tray with the new pack. Because I don't know if these are going to sprout or not. So that's those. And then I have my marigolds. I have my snapdragons. I have milkweeds, which those seeds are actually sitting in the refrigerator. They've been in there for about 5 weeks now, I think. And then these are the onions I already sowed, so I'm gonna put those back in. There, chives and dill. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 items to sow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have an extra tray. So I'm gonna start, I think, with the flowers. So my marigolds. Let's start with the marigolds. These are 1/4 inch deep, and these are 45 to 60 days to bloom. So these are the dwarf varieties that I'm sowing today. Let me go ahead and put my labels in. So I'm gonna start with the flowers. So I have my marigolds label here. Well, actually, I'm gonna put it on this side so I can see it. And then my snapdragons and my milkweeds. So the snapdragons, I'm kind of thinking I'm not gonna do a lot of those. I don't know if I need a whole tray. And then the milkweeds, I have a lot of seeds, so I'm gonna sow them anyway. So I might only do half of the tray of snapdragons, and then if there's something else I wanna need extra for, like maybe my basil, if I'm gonna sow a lot of basil, I'll just use an extra, you know, half of that cell there. So my marigolds, I'm going to sow probably maybe the rest of these seeds. Mine as well. So my marigolds, I'm just gonna, it says 1/4 inch deep. So I'm just gonna move some of the soil over. And then once they come out or come up, I'll just thin them or pot them up, put them in separate containers. Actually, there's kind of a lot of these, so I might use the other half of the snapdragon side to put the marigolds. I think that's a good plan. So I don't overcrowd the seeds, because I just want to use a lot of these seeds up. I don't want them to get too old to where they stop germinating. So we're gonna do that, I think. Those in there. Hopefully some of these chunks that I see in here aren't too chunky, but we'll find out. So I'm gonna put in another label here. Actually, I'm just gonna move this one here so I remember that this half of this cell is that. The snapdragons, these are in the freezer, I believe. So special germination for these are light age germination, press seeds into the soil, freeze seeds 48 hours prior to sowing. I put these in the freezer, I think yesterday. So let me grab those. so Snapdragon seeds, and these things are super tiny. I don't know if you guys can see that. I didn't take too many out. I think I only did like 9 or 10 from what I could see. But we're gonna try to get them out of here. So let's see. Snapdragons are gonna be on the top. And then one other thing that I learned is like you can use vermiculite to sprinkle it on top, because vermiculite will still let in the sunlight or the light. So I'm gonna try to dump these out. This might not be a smart idea, but actually let me grab a paper towel or something. And fully think this through. All right, so I'm gonna use the end of this to grab some of these seeds. I think these are the seeds. Okay, so that didn't go as well as I thought it was gonna go. So we're just gonna put some on here. Not many, because I don't need a lot, but at least I know that something will germinate, hopefully. Because I'm not sure if I picked up dirt or seeds. Okay, so a few came out, don't know how many, I can't tell. But those are done. I'm just gonna press that down. And then I'm gonna spray these ones that I've already done. Okay, so now for the milkweeds. Those are in the refrigerator. These have been in here since the 1st of January. So milkweeds say 1/4 inch deep. I don't know how many seeds I put in here. Probably too many. So I'm gonna do like, I don't know, 3 or 4 per cell. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 30. So, I guess I'm doing 5 per cell. So I have 5 in each cell. I'm just gonna kind of push them down with this little bamboo. Cover them up with some more soil. So I'm just gonna steal from this one. So flowers are done. I'm just gonna do the rest of them pretty quickly, get those out the way. Whole thing. So I'm gonna do this whole pack of chives into the blueberry container, because these are old. I don't know if they're even going to germinate anyway, and I should just get rid of them, I think, because I'm pretty sure these are at least 4 or 5 years old, if not older. So I'm just gonna kind of scatter them in this entire thing. And then I bought new chives, so let's see, it says about 1/4 inch deep. So we're gonna go with the same thing. But we're gonna do this entire pack. So I wanted to do the entire pack into this blueberry tray, and then I would do the new chives into the seed trays. So, and then these ones, I think I might not need, well, I might need an extra basil. So we're gonna keep that one there for basil. So I'm gonna steal some soil from these to cover this up. So this will be a little, you know, humidity-ish kind of thing going on for that. Okay, so I'm gonna get the rest of these done and then we'll be back. All right, you guys, so I have everything sewn and set up in its little station. My marigolds, snapdragons, milkweed, the basil, and I have old and new basil. I think I sewed something here, but I don't remember what it was. So if something pops up, we'll find out what that is later. Some more parsley, bunching onions, and chives, and then the ones that were already sewn before. The old chives are in here. And then I have dill sewn in these pots here because dill doesn't like to really be translated from what I've been seeing. So I think I only sewed like 3 seeds per each of these pots. So I'm thinking I can put the whole pot into the raised bed or wherever I'm gonna put each of these. And 3 staying together should be okay. So everything is here, and then I just put some plastic on these just to try to keep some of the moisture in. And then I have my little grow light. I have a fan set up here for whenever I need it. And then I have them on this heat mat here to kind of keep them warm. I think I'm only going to keep it on like a little bit out of the day, not all day long, like maybe 20-30 minutes a day. But that is it.